So as we go into Shabbos Parshas Kisisa dealing with this coronavirus, here are 4 thoughts. Number 1, to those who are nebach in quarantine. So in Yiddishkeit, usually loneliness is not a good thing. A Yid belongs amongst other Yidden. If, however, a Yid is put in such a situation, there has to be something good about it as well. So in this week's Parsha, the Eibusha tells Moshe when he goes up to the mountain, V'ish lo ya'ale imach. No man should go up with you. So it says in Sfarim from Talmid of the Baal Shem Tov, when a Yid goes up the mountain, goes up to serve the Eibishter, don't take any people with you. Meaning to say, don't do things for other people's approval, and don't hold back from doing the right thing because of what other people will say. So if someone's alone, it could be their time alone with the Eibishter. Do the right thing. No one's going to know if you spend time on Netflix or you spend time learning Torah. If you'll daven a little longer that day, more than you would usually would. If it comes to a point where unfortunately kids are home from school, the same thing will apply. Now we have an opportunity to really show what is our home about without anyone else mixing in. Number 2 is dealing with it, preventing it. So everyone agrees washing hands is one way to prevent spreading the virus. The original washing hands is in this week's Parsha the Kiyar. The Kohanim, before going into the Mishkan, had to wash their hands and feet. The Rebbe spoke about this Purim Tavshin Chaf and Chaf Gimel Iyar Tavshin Chaf Gimel to women. One of the points is every Jewish home is a Mishkan, a Mikdash for the Eibishter. There's a lot of dirt outside, a lot of influences that try to make their way into our home. And it's our job, and specifically the woman's job, to filter out that shmutz, to wash it away. One of the ways of doing it is with the water, the pure water of Torah, Yiras Shamayim and Emunah, and deciding what's going to make it into the house and what will stay outside. Washing is also, the Rambam brings in this week's Sefer Mitzvahs. We have Shlomo Melech was Mesaken washing our hands. So number 1, to consider the idea of what we could learn from this about making our homes more pure, wholesome, and keeping out unwanted influences, whether it's a filter on internet or it's a filter of reading material, etc. And number 2, maybe consider also Pasha being more mahadir in Netilas Yadayim. Shlomo HaMelech said to be wash our hands before the CDC said so. Number 3, when it comes to Emunah, there seems to be a lot of blind faith when it comes to this virus. Yesterday in Empire Kosher, people are buying as if, who knows what's coming, World War III. Why? Because they saw somewhere. They saw WhatsApp about no running water. So that emunah, that blind faith they had, caused them a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of effort. The Alter Rebbe writes in Likutei Torah that the first Beis HaMikdash was destroyed because of wrong emunah. Emunah is koizvos, meaning to say the Yidden had faith, but in the wrong prophets. Instead of the Nevi'ei Emes, they had emunah in the Nevi'ei Sheker. Bayis Sheni was destroyed because they believed people too much. They had blind faith. If someone says something about a person, they immediately believed it, and because of that came sinas chinam. It was senseless because they didn't use their senses. They didn't use their logic. They believed it, blind faith. Mashiach is where our emunah belongs. Mashiach may not make sense, but we hear something that the Torah says, that the Eibusha says, that the Rebbe says, that's where our emunah, clean, pure emunah belongs. And sometimes, yeah, it will cost us time, it may even cost us money and effort, but it's well worth it. This week's Parsha, it says, don't make gods out of metals. Masech also means a screen. Don't turn the screen into a god and just believe everything it says. Of course, if there are directives from medical professionals, from Rabbanim, of course, we have to follow those. But not with this blind emunah that therefore throws us into this frenzy, into this craziness. But of course, it could teach us a lesson in Emunah and Mashiach. And finally, Ki Sisa, how to stay above all this. Tavshin Mem Zayin, the Rebbe spoke about. Ki Sisa es Reish B'nai Yisrael, a Yid should lift up his head. Once our head is lifted up, the whole body gets lifted up. How does a Yid lift his head? By filling it with Torah. And even if we're learning Torah till now, use more time for learning Torah. This starts with the head of the household, the father especially, the mother. And it may come to a point next week or for the next who knows how long where fathers may actually have more time on their hands because they won't have to commute. We should use that time to clear our head with Torah. And that way we will be able to lift up ourselves and lift up our entire family, and stay focused and not get caught up with this Elokei Masecha. Instead, stay focused on keeping ourselves healthy, both Bagashmius and Beruchnius. And it could be in Dershei de Shumas Ken Zogen, if you spell Corona with Aleph, Kuf Aleph, Reish Aleph, Nun Aleph, so you have the word Keren with a bunch of olives. Keren means horn. The Medrash says, Moshe Rabbeinu asked Eibishter, Bamet Torum Keren Yisrael, how will the Keren, the glory of the Yidden, be uplifted? The Eibishter said, with Kisisa, with Tzedakah. Keren, the pride of the Yidden, and the glory of the Yidden will be lifted with Aleph, 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 Torah, Tefillah, Tzedakah, Emunah in the Eibishter, learning the Eibishter's Torah, and helping another Yid, and that way we will be zeichet to see the Keren of Mashiach, the Torah, Vanir, Vanigla. Have a wonderful Shabbos.